The image of a clunking cat is interesting, and it makes me think about skill versus clumsiness. And I guess one of the things people seem to learn in martial arts, but really any area of practical mastery, is that small adjustments in angle and intention and vigilance and precision make a big difference in how smoothly and effectively we get anything done. Is a lot of suffering just clumsiness,
No, ignorance.
ignorance?
See, what you're talking about is inability, an ability or not. See, we're talking about clumsy, right? See, and the clumsy is making clump gross distinctions. See, what you just said, very well, was making finer distinctions. See, that's what your whole sentence was about. See, you make finer distinctions in all this stuff that's creating the relationship, and you have more skill. Okay? And the more distinctions you can make, the better, the more skill that are accurate, the more skill you have. Say, and then if you make stuff up that isn't related to what's really occurring, you're not having a good time. Okay. Say, this doesn't work. And people do that a lot, even in the martial world. Say, and you get rid of all that. And that includes all the social stuff. Social stuff is no place in fighting. See, people, but learn to play the piano then. Okay. See, fighting is a different matter. Um, like hammering a nail with a hammer. Obviously, if you're hammering a nail, it's with a hammer. But you're hammering a nail, right? What's the social component? What's the good and bad of that? There is none, really. You know what I'm saying? It's not a moral issue. It's a hammering a nail. You do it well or you don't do it well relative to nail and hammer and how all that works, right? Simple thing. Okay. In any case, that's a different domain than what I'm talking about in the suffering. It's not just making clumsy distinctions, it's being ignorant. So, and you can make a case, well, that's, kind of clumsy. Okay. But no, just ignorant. People have no idea. They have no clue how much we are doing within our own experience. See, now I just took it out of mind. Because when I say mind, a lot of times people think intellect only or talking to yourself. Those are aspects of mind, but it's far more than that. It's our experience. See, like when we, shouldn't go down that road too much. But in any case, what you're doing, like in one of the books, I think it's the book of not knowing, I talk about getting my teeth drilled without Novocaine. Did you read that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you did. Okay, so that must be Book of Not Knowing. Then you read the Book of Not. Okay, cool. You got that one?
I've got one on PDF and I've got the other one in hard copy. So
Okay.
I've got suffering in hard copy and I've got a PDF of not knowing.
Okay, cool. In any case, see, people think, okay, well, you get your teeth drilled. First of all, most people are afraid of the dentist, right? That's and isn't. Okay. See, that's a future. Oh, it's going to go bad. It's going to hurt me, right? Okay. Eliminate that. Oh, and remind me to talk about the Buddhist, the Tibetan Buddhist after this piece, because it'll help. But in any case, I get and sometimes like a lot of it's really minor, See, people like, why do no? Anyway, drilling. Okay. So physiologically, there's something happening. See, and once I get was it over an hour drilling for a root canal thingamajigger or putting in a pin or whatever. Okay, so back here. So that was some doing, and the dentist couldn't understand, why I didn't want to do Novocaine, and he said he thought I was going to white knuckle it, and like in other words, control and like no. I say no pain. Why? Now here's the kicker, and this is the reason I bring it up. Pain is a concept. See, now wait, no, pain's not a concept. It's physiological. It's there are pain receptors and stuff like that. I know I studied physiology. In any case, yeah, but no, pain, what you and I experience as pain, is a concept. And what I mean by that, and the reason I bring it up, is to go into experience. See, is to bring concept into something people can't fuck with. You know what I'm saying? That is not whimsical. Yeah. See? Because, you talk pain, you get people's attention here, especially drilling a tooth, right? You get people's attention. Yeah. See, in any case, no, there was no pain. It didn't hurt. Why? Because I didn't create the distinction pain. Because I know what pain is. You follow? See, now that's a big leap. I'm not expecting most of our audience to go there. I'm just pressing the envelope here so that you're not so whimsical when you're hearing me talk about concept or mind. You see, it's like there's an ingredient, the sensation, the physiological sensation is not itself painful. It's only when we add that ingredient that hurts. Ow, 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 owie, ow, ow, ow. You know that one? Then it's painful, right? See, if we don't add that ingredient, and most people have no ability to do that. So they can't find that. Where I can't do that. That's just biology. All right, all right, all right. Yeah. There's a lot of things in the biology you don't have to do. But in any case, but I'm just pressing the issue. So now back to the Tibetan Buddhists. Thanks for reminding me. Now, an experiment was done. I love this one, right? See, an experiment was done with Tibetan Buddhists who meditate all their lives. They meditated all their lives, right? They contemplate all their lives, right? They spent, controlling their mind, doing all kinds of stuff, Tibetan Buddhist. And then I think it was, what's that guy's name? Dalai Lama, the Dalai Lama who set this up. He wanted to. And so they had normal people like you and I, okay? And the Tibetan Buddhists, okay? And then they would test them, and they probably had a control group. I don't know what that would be, but in any case. And they would monitor their mind, their brain waves, their brain waves, whatever, however it is done. And and they would make a sound and then shock them or some such, make a painful experience and watch their brain waves. Okay. Now, normal people, and they do that repeatedly, several times, right? Now, normal people like us, say, they knew what's coming, right? Because they were told, right? And then they experienced it, and they experienced it again and again. See, so there was anxiousness before, the sound, it spiked up, the shock, the pain, it spiked up again, and then afterwards, it also spiked. So they had like 3 times the amount of pain. The Tibetan Buddhists, nothing. The sound, nothing. The shock, boom, something in their brain sparked. After, nothing again. Relative to whatever the parameters were, right? See, you follow what I'm saying? See, they didn't do the isn't, okay? They stayed for whatever reason, because they were trained to stay with what is. And what is? Shock. No shock. No shock to begin with. Shock, no shock. See, there's no reason to go there. No reason to create more suffering than necessary. Okay, like that. Which, and apparently, being shocked is a necessary suffering. I guess. So anyway, isn't that interesting?
So in terms of avoiding then the sort of unnecessary elements of the suffering, is it more like uh, holding on to something, or is it more like surfing around those things when they come? Like if there's an
Stop doing
element,
it.
yep.
Stop doing it. See, again,
Okay.
so you see how the way you framed it. This is a normal in our worlds, that we share. This is a normal way of thinking about things, right? Framing it, right? Like my mind does it to me, or here is something I have to get around it, or I have to deal with it in this way or that way. No, this thing that you say you have to get around or whatever, you're doing it. Say, you don't have to get around
So
it.
it's more like
Doing
ceasing
it.
to ride a bicycle or ceasing to squeeze your fist or something like that.
Yes. Yeah. Stop doing it. Yeah. See, and you can't stop squeezing your fist unless you acknowledge you're squeezing your fist, right? The first thing you have to do is squeeze your fist. Oh, I'm doing it. And you have to find where you're squeezing your fist. You see, you have to grasp, oh, I'm doing it. Oh, I'll stop that.
Thanks for watching. If you want to get more serious and get involved, check the links in the description, and we'll see you there.